Iqbal has said all the armed forces of Gog and Magog are now released. You cannot make a ta'wil, an interpretation, to interpret that away. No. Chashme Muslim dekhale tafsir harfiyan sirun. The people of the world of Islam must now direct their attention to that passage of the Quran in Surah Al-Anbiya, which ends with the word yansirun. وَحَرَامٌ عَلَى قَرْيَةٍ أَهْلَكْنَاهَا أَنَّهُمْ لَا يَرْجِعُونَ حَتَّى إِذَا فُتِحَتْ يَأْجُوجُ وَمَأْجُوجُ وَهُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ حَدَبٍ يَنْسِلُونَ. Despite the fact that Iqbal recognized Gog and Magog to have been released, this is the one and only time that he ever make mention of it in this couplet. His scholarship could have gone forward, and he could have demonstrated in political history, in economic history, etc., the footprints of Gog and Magog. He didn't do that, and that's why they gave him Sir Muhammad Iqbal. Any more?
Before you do, any questions from the sisters?
I have a question. If the secret system of time is linked to the Minsa from Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam.
The secret system of time, is it linked to the Minsa of Nabi Sulaiman?
Good question. The sacred system of time is one.
Sheikh, sorry, can I just say, right, to the audience, just so you know, right, the Minsa is the end of the staff of Nabi Sulaiman.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's the question, is that bottom part of the staff linked to the sacred system of time? Sorry, Sheikh.
Okay. The sacred system of time, which has come from Allah, has been described in Surah Al-Kahf. So the young men went to sleep in the cave, and they slept for 300 years. And when they woke up after 300 years, and they asked each other, how long have we been here? One of them said maybe a day or a part of a day, indicating that during those 300 years, they did not age biologically. If you don't trim your beard, after a few months the beard will be this long. After a few years it will be a long beard. And after 300 years it will be as long as from here to Birmingham. If you don't cut your fingernails, after a few months it will be this long. But after 300 years, from Wembley to Harrow. And this is easily visible. So if they say we've been here only a day or a part of the day, it indicates that they did not spend the 300 years in biological time. They spend the 300 years in a world in which women don't have to bother about cosmetics because you remain permanently young. Huh? You don't age. Does anyone differ? Good. But the problem is that during these same 300 years, they were right here in this world in biological time. Because every morning and every evening the bodies were rolling. Morning and evening. So how can you be here and yet not here? Answer? The only way you can explain this is constant movement back and forth between different dimensions of time. Constant movement back and forth between different dimensions of time. And if it is possible to move between different dimensions of time, is it possible to show time backwards and forwards? Sulaiman alayhi salam died. And everybody knew he was dead and buried, everybody. Except some nutcrackers. But the jinn who don't live in this world of space and time did not know that he died. Because there was someone sitting on the throne that the Quran referred to as a jasad. And that jasad was holding the staff. But the staff had inside of it something called the minsa of the staff. And if you held that staff and you control the minsa of that staff could become a snake. That staff could hit the water and part the water and make a way to the Red Sea. And if you take that staff and hit the rock, 12 streams of water could come out from the rock. That is the minsa of the staff. So someone who is holding the staff and sitting on the throne is able to use the minsa of the staff to make it appear that Sulaiman alayhi salam is still alive. Because the jinn can see him walking and talking and eating. And so any order that jasad gives to them, they believe it is an order from Sulaiman and they obey. Because Allah says if you disobey Sulaiman, you'll be punished with terrible punishment. And that is continuing up to now. But when Dabbatul Ard comes, then Dabbatul Ard would consume not the staff, not the staff. The Quran doesn't say that. Dabbatul Ard will consume, meaning destroy, the minsa of the staff. And when the minsa of the staff is destroyed, then the jasad who is holding the staff will no longer be able to deceive the jinn. And they will no longer obey him. And that's goodbye to Israel. Do you need more? Farida? Is this enough? So what is Dabbatul Ard? It's most certainly not termites. Termites who are eating the bottom of the staff. I'm sorry, but I cannot use any language to explain this other than nonsense. I'm sorry if you're annoyed with me, that's it. But I have to say, whatever is the price I have to pay, that this is nonsense. That Sulaiman alayhi salam died, sitting on his throne, And he remained there sitting on his throne as a dead body, I don't know for how many months or years. And the termites came and they were eating at the bottom of the staff. I don't know how long it took before the staff lost its balance. And when the staff lost its balance, then the staff collapsed and then the dead body collapsed. And that's the way this bogus story ends. That is what you find in the tafsir. And it's nonsense. It's nonsense. The minsa is not the staff. The minsa is a miraculous quality of the staff, which allows backward and forward movement in time. The physicists are at work from the time of Copernicus and Galileo Galilei and Sir Isaac Newton and Albert Einstein and so on, with looking for a theory which explains the universe, a unified theory which explains the universe. And they combine space and time, it's called it a space-time continuum. And we say no. We say no, time is what is supreme, not space, time. And time is Allah. Time is Allah. La tasubbu dahr fa inni ana dahr. Do not abuse time, because I, Allah, time meaning endless time, a dahr. Okay? This is the new book I'm writing now. And they're looking for a unified theory to explain all the universe. And we have it. That this universe came into being with a command. It came into being with a command. And the command came from a being who was intelligent and who had a personality, a person. Not an impersonal force called Om, the Hindu Om. No. And that is Kun Fayakun. That is the unified theory. Go ahead, next one.
Any more from the sisters? Okay, brother, sorry, Hamza. Hamza, please go ahead.
I just want to understand, you're speaking about the sort of structure of the Quran in terms of the first 6 long surahs and things. Is that your theory, or did you get taught that theory, or would you say that's fact? And what's the evidence?
My nephew is asking the question that your conclusion of the first 6 surahs of the Quran, is that your interpretation, or did you get it from somebody else?
I did say Allah knows best.
You said Allahu Alam. That's all.
This is my explanation. That is why Allah has started the Quran with 6 long surahs. And I invite those who have a different view to kindly tell me what is your view. Why has the Quran begun with 6 long surahs? Why? This is my explanation.
So did you come up with that theory yourself, or was it with your teacher?
Well, I'm someone who thinks.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yes. I spend a long time thinking. And I also pray. And I ask Allah for guidance and knowledge. That's my answer to you. This is how I live my life. Yes.
Sheikh, the way the Quran is compiled, it's not as it was revealed, like the Quran is not. That was the first surah. It's not in the beginning. So it was compiled at the time of Sayyidina Usman anhu, and that's how we have it at this time. Am I right?
The Quran that came down from Allah is not a written document. The word Quran means recitation. So whether the scribes wrote it down or not has absolutely nothing to do with the authenticity of the Quran. Who compiled it is irrelevant, because the Quran is a recitation, and it was memorized by many, many people, all right, before the Prophet ﷺ died. And that memorized Quran is the Quran, not the written one. So you can talk and talk and talk about the written Quran. It's not relevant to me, because that's not the Quran. This is the Quran recitation. Yes, they made an effort to record it. But the recorded Quran has to conform with the Quran itself, which is recited. Okay? The recorded Quran has to conform with this Quran, which is the Quran, which is recited. And when they recorded the Quran, there was no tashkil. Fatha, Kesra, Dhamma, Sukun, none. We have original copies of the Quran at that time, which are today in museums, and you will see there is no Kasra and no Fatha and no Dhamma. So how did it come? Did Allah send down an angel to put it in? I'm sorry I have to raise my voice,
No, that's what,
because we
stop
stopped thinking now. It was people, human beings, they put in the tashkil. All right? And that is not preserved by Allah. And if you say that the Fatha and the Kesra and the Dhamma, which is in the written form, that is a part of the Quran, I'm sorry for you on Judgment Day, because you're making a mistake. That is not a part of the Quran.